I will preface this, but I think something that is important, and I think it's something that has come up here a lot. I think we have to transition to a phase where we start building consumer applications. For the past 7 or 8 years, we've been building infra, building meta, infra, building abstractions, and we have to move towards building consumer applications, because otherwise we're going to continue just like circle jerking these things. And unfortunately, I think it's like Americans who historically have done consumer applications well, and we have a problem, basically. And I would like to see like more European companies and more folks sort of trying to tackle this. And Adtech, unfortunately or fortunately, has a lot to do with this. So, yeah, okay. We'll start with, wait, one sec, about ads. Who likes ads in Web3? Yeah, no one? Like just, this is like scrolling a bit on Twitter or like just Googling crypto ads, and it's all scams. I mean, it's true. Like it's all scams, it's all grifting stuff, and actually most times, like the ad tech industry, even if it wasn't scams, is like so counter-positioned to the values that we have in Web3 of like ownership and sovereignty and transparency and all that stuff. It's like completely the reverse. So just to start with that, and I will just quickly talk about, like, introduce myself. So I worked for a company called IronSource, which is an Israeli ad tech company, and they sent me to China to sort of like help train the office there, and I was there for 3 years. While there, I read about the DAO hack, accidentally created the largest crypto community in China, learned about Bitcoin, learned about DAOs, and then started, I had a startup, started advising crypto startups. After I closed that, I was a part of the DAO, where I see some folks here from the DAO, and now I'm with Collider, which is a venture fund out of Israel. So, yeah, that's about me. So what do you guys know about advertisements? Anyone knows who's the guy on the left here, on the bottom left? Yeah? No one? So this is Edward Bernays. He is sort of like the father of public relations, the father of propaganda. He's the nephew of Freud. And he famously, if you see the women right next to him, there was a campaign called the Torches of Freedom, which, essentially the cigarette companies saw that women are not smoking, and that's like literally 50% of the market. So he rode the sort of feminist movement and told them to like light cigarettes and like a big feminist movement sort of occasion. And obviously, the sales of cigarettes rose. On the bottom right here, it's the first ad that has ever existed on the internet in 1994. A banner, as you can see. And at the top here, that's David Ben-Gurion. I mean, it's super controversial right now, I guess, but it's from the famous Apple ad about the odd ones, I guess, the square pegs in round hole. So I want to talk quickly about the rise of mobile and what happened, because that's something that I know very well. So I guess the iPhone in the early 2010s. Started. There was like competition between Apple and Samsung, and then advancements in chips allowed this to be sort of like mass-produced. Another thing that sort of happened is like the evolution of JavaScript, right? Like Node.js Cloud has essentially made applications and development of applications so much simpler. And social media with Facebook, which was first on the computers and on the web, and then later as a phone, on the phone became essentially the killer app. And that's kind of like how mobile evolved. But one thing that people overlook a lot is the rise of mobile ad tech and the ability to sort of discover applications. So there's a few things, right? There's analytics, like I am able to buy a user for $1, and I know that that user is worth $1.20 for me, so I will always pay $1 to get that user. And so there's like all these parameters, like lifetime value, cost per acquisition, return of ad spend, and sort of like the analytics industry sort of very much evolved. Another thing that evolved is the business model. On the top right here, you'll see, wow, it cut. But it's, or is it very small. So like this is the share of applications that are paid, right? Less than 10% in both Android and iOS are paid applications. What does that mean? How does the developer make money? And I saw it firsthand, especially with games, that you develop a game, but no one's really paying. No one's buying in-app purchases stuff. So the result is that these guys had no way to monetize. And using ads, and this is really came up in like 2014 with things like, I guess like freemium and stuff like that, new sort of like ad formats emerged. And these ad formats were like, the thing in the middle here, you can either buy 5 more lives, or you can watch a video, an ad, and then get another life, on Candy Crush or something of that sort. So, like, it sort of changed, the Adtech changed how these things worked. And so this is not sort of like without problems, right? And you have Zuckerberg here, that says, the more of your data I gather, the more I understand what it means to be human, right? Facebook and Google controlled essentially all of the ad market, and then most recently, Apple killed IDFA, and Google is probably going to have to follow suit, which was like the ability to target people across the web. So right now, Apple is going to ask you for permission to actually track you. And the Adtech market is growing, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're obviously understanding this. Everybody knows. So my take is that Web3 is going to dramatically affect how the Adtech market is going to look like and how it's going to grow. So kind of like history rhymes, just like the rise of mobile, I think we are at a point where we have UX abstraction with like smart accounts and stuff like that, what was actually previously talked here, and even with like PWAs. I like this quote from Kane, crazy how many problems we have solved or about to be solved for deploying crypto projects, because in his time, when he deployed synthetics, he had to build everything from scratch, all the infra. So now you have like the graph, you have Alchemy, you have all these EVA modules, you have all these wallet abstractions. And finally, the stack to discover applications, to figure out what is out there is emerging. There's like audience definition and analytics, there's attribution, there's ad matchmaking and delivery, and there's discovery. And the last thing I want to say is that, when I first started and I came here and I said like ads, like the initial reaction from everyone is like, no, not ads. It's what I call like a severe allergic reaction. And the reality, I think we have to rebrand it in crypto, and we'll talk about this in a bit, but what about the word incentives? I think it's like very apt. So how is Web3 going to change Adtech? I think one of the things that happen that we can do in crypto is we have alignment, right? We can set some standards, and we can set shared ownership. Imagine there's like an ad network, and everybody who's seeing ads is a part of that ad network. They have tokens in it, or whatever sort of coordination you want. And this essentially creates trust. So right now, the things that we have to do that is like like airdrop and liquidity mining, and that's just a form of advertising that is very, very bad because we didn't want to do like advertising. Another thing that this will sort of like enable is recurring engagement. You can directly connect with the wallet or the person who you are sort of targeting. And yeah, like I mentioned, kind of like opt-in frameworks. If I give in more of my data, if I can share more of what I'm doing online, maybe I will get a bigger share of the rewards that I'm supposed to get, and distribution and ownership in the network. Another thing that is a bit overlooked is, who remembers the ribbon finance sort of like thing where their airdrop was farmed by one of their VCs? Who remembers this? Show of hands. No one? Yeah? So yeah, they came up. Yeah, they like one of the VCs basically created like hundreds of accounts and essentially farmed their airdrop. And one of the biggest problems in Adtech is fraud. Like if you get paid to download an app, then people are going to massively sort of like inflate that and try to sort of make a shitload of money. And so what happened here is, because it's transparent, because you can look at the blockchain and see sort of like what happened, they were caught. And they weren't just caught, their intern was using their ENS name, and it was very easy to sort of like follow them, and it was just like a whole debacle. So yeah, so like I said before, instead of calling it ads, we should call it incentives. And want to touch a bit on like how is this going to look like? So I think we can have dynamic incentives, what I would call. So imagine if you have some on-chain behavior. If you're a whale, you'll be incentivized to maybe provide liquidity. If you're not a whale, maybe you'll incentivized to just trade on the platform. Or this could be your progress in a game, what you can do in other places. And the fact that you have such a rich place with data, which is your wallet, and you can read and you can figure out, according to the things in the wallet, what might be interesting for you. I think that opens up to like a lot of different things. Another thing is like you can create like interactive things that are catered specifically to you. You can do like social graph-based rewards, right? If I am sharing something, I mean, it's kind of already happening like with referral programs, but if you can like bake this into like, I don't know, my Farcaster social graph, and the more people come through my Farcaster ID, then things could look like a lot more interesting. And yeah, like, obviously, like limited reward stuff. All of these things are already happening, but standardizing this could be like super interesting. Like, okay, the first 100 people that share their ETH address can get this NFT, or stuff like that. So I'll give a few examples. I don't know if you guys know, I put you guys in there. So on the left here, there's on Farcaster, someone put essentially an ad, and the space is for sale. It's completely static. It doesn't really read your wallet. And on Farcaster, what you can do, as soon as you interact with the frame, you can see the wallet address. And then if you have the wallet address, you can see what they've done. And then you could customize what is the ad that they're seeing according to the wallet. We have the folks here from Outpost that if you're not already on it, it's essentially, let me know if I butcher it, but a wallet-based newsletter. So it reads what you have in your wallet, and according to what you've interacted with or according to the communities you're a part of, it will show you a feed of what they think is interesting for you from across sort of the web. And then you have Coinbase, which they have a spotlight, which, according to what you are, according to what you've done in the Coinbase wallet, you'll be offered to, mint a Shield Basics NFT because you've done some like basic things. Yeah, I think in general, like this shift is sort of taking the Web3 values of ownership and transparency and that type of things and baking them into some of the most dystopian industries that we've ever had. Like what created the most amount of spying on people and generating data that people don't even know that they've been collected on, right? Like everybody knows this thing where they would say giraffe with their phone, with their friends on the phone, next to the phone, giraffe, 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 and then they'll see like ads to go to the Safari or something. And like these things have happened. So like these like what we can do with Web3 values can actually change how shitty and I guess disgusting Adtech has been. Another thing, it's kind of like we are changing how sort of like value is distributed. One sec, yeah. And how we sort of like value attention. Like if right now in Google and Facebook, I don't get anything, right? I see an ad, maybe the Facebook gets some money from the advertiser, but I don't get anything from that. And now you'll be able to sort of like be a part of this puzzle. And yeah, I think like Web3 right now, it's sort of like a teenager in adolescence, which doesn't really know anything about himself and the world. And now we're finally getting to some like data-driven stuff. We're beginning to quantify like our users and how to get them and how to grow them. And this has to happen. This has to happen if we want the industry in and of itself to scale. And yeah, just like mobile game developers couldn't monetize if there weren't any ads, so will many websites and so many avenues in crypto will be able to monetize through showing like targeted incentives inside their platforms. So, yeah, that's it. Any thoughts? Yeah? Yeah.
Do you think it's possible to create like one profile for a user, for a Web3 user? Because what you said is that you have the data from your wallet, but I have like 3 different wallets. I have my L2 wallet, I have a Coinbase, MetaMask. So how is it possible to create like one profile, like a user profile to...
So I think this is a problem. I have like 20, honestly. Like 20 wallets that I use for like different things because I also like value privacy. And like this is a very interesting question on how this is going to work. I'll comment this from the other side. Do you even want to be targeted by a wallet? I mean, that's kind of like, it has your financial history. It's kind of like this entire complex thing of, like, maybe I don't want people to see everything that I've done on chain. And then how do you interact with something like this? And I mean, Sysmo tried to do things like that, like back in the day with like ZK proofs. I'll be able to prove that I have an ape on some wallet because I signed a transaction without proving like which is the wallet, for example. They're not doing that anymore, and I think maybe it was kind of like an overkill to do that. But at the end of the day, like, you know, these guys, you can ask them from Outpost. This is kind of the question that I asked them yesterday, because I connected with one of my main wallets that has like most of my interactions, but you know, I have another wallet that's, you know, not in that. So can I add that wallet to that list? Or maybe can I add like multiple wallets? That's something to be seen. And then maybe you want to create an abstraction for that. Maybe you want to, okay, I'm going to mint an NFT that represents my wallet history, and then I can update that NFT according to sort of like what is continuing to happen or what else I'm interested in. I don't know how this is going to turn out. So yeah. Does that answer the question? Yeah?
Hi. I guess another question is also related to CPMs that are being paid currently by advertisers. For example, we run a site with, I don't know, thousands of visitors. And anyways, our impression was that, for example, the CPM that we get from these, I guess, like advertising dealers or whatever, is actually very low. So if I would spend with my co-founder some time building a feature that allows me to mint an NFT or whatever, like something that my users like, I might make more easily money doing that instead of selling ads on my website, because at the end of the day, connecting a wallet is actually so much less friction once you have connected it compared to, let's say, putting a credit card into a website, right?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So I also wonder, what is your, how do you think that will develop, considering that it's so easy to spend money on Web3 that I almost feel like maybe that just, I don't know, it just really shifts the dynamics.
Yeah. So yeah. So to start with, I actually think like CPM is like cost per mil, so cost per usually 1,000 impressions. I think that's sort of outdated, and we're going to shift, like it's already been shifted to like, you know, there's cost per click, CPC, and then there's cost per install, like in an apps, and then there's even deeper, which is like cost per action. So this means that if I am an advertiser, I'm going to pay for a certain action that user does. And let's say, you know, that the easiest example is, I don't know, I'm about to trade on Uniswap, for example, through my Coinbase wallet. And Coinbase knows that I'm about to do a transaction that maybe CowSwap wants to offer me to do the same transaction through CowSwap, but you know, they know that they can give me a better price because CowSwap has solvers and, you know, that type of stuff. So I think it will trend towards that. And then kind of, it will still be in the flow of the on-chain stuff, right? It will still be like, I am like trading, I want to switch from USDC to Ether or whatever, and I'll be able to be, quote unquote, intercepted in a very good time to go somewhere else. And CowSwap is willing to pay maybe $1 or $2 to both the wallet and then maybe the user as well. Hey, you're going to get a rebate in gas or something like that. So I think it will trend to these type of things. Actually, I forgot, I wanted to say an example. That when I was in China, there was, I don't know if people remember, like there used to be Android devices where you would click to clean the cache of the Android device, right? And so I was working with like the biggest Chinese company to do that. And after we iterated on a bunch of stuff, and like how to show the ad, when to show the ad, and this is what we learned in retrospect, but what we landed on was like you go and clean, and it goes and it says like 150 megabyte cleaned, the rocket flies, whatever, and then it's like you get like a present. The president would say, we have something for you, and the conversion rate of that was insane because you met the user in a very, very good psychological point. Later on, we sort of like reversed engineer that, and we're like, oh, okay, so why does the user clean his phone? Because he's bored. They're bored, they're going to go to the cleaner, clean it, they have nothing to do, and then it's like, oh, yes, exactly, I wanted to play that game. Or, I'm already in a state where I'm more open to see an ad. So I don't know where those points will happen in crypto. Like, I don't know yet, but this just requires like a lot of iteration, and once this happens, I think we'll be able to sort of like reverse engineer that and say like, oh yes, of course, when the user did this or that, it was the best time to show them some ad. Yeah, you wanna?
Guess maybe to, thanks for that perspective. I think maybe what I wanted to suggest was that since Web3 allows you to more easily monetize, and oftentimes in Web2 anyways, I think it was kind of difficult to monetize. And just to make an example, there's like, you probably know Spindle, there's Adtech Web3 startup. They had an ad on CoinDesk today, and I actually failed to read the ad, to read the article on CoinDesk because it was full of ads, so I clicked away actually. So, and the reason that CoinDesk has all of these ads is because they need to pay the people that write the articles and maintain the site. And I guess what I'm saying is that, do you think that the ad space will continue to have this like huge role in like the web and tech and so on, or do you think, for example, that this will start to play less of a role, considering that everybody can now more easily monetize in other ways, alternatively to running ads? Like CoinDesk could sell NFTs, CoinDesk could, I don't know, financialize with a token or whatever, so they would actually never have to sell ads and stuff like that,
I mean, that kind of implies that ads are inherently a bad thing, which I don't think so. Like, I agree there are more ways to monetize, but still, if you're like a data play, like I don't take a website like DeepDAO or DeFi Llama, which is like, these are both great examples. They've built something super comprehensive, but how are they going to monetize this like in a reliable way? But something like DeFi Llama, if you go to check out the staking page, or if you go to check out the fundraising page, right? They'll be able to give you something that is fairly curated to probably what you need. So I think like to meet the user where he is at the right time is important, because people want to discover new applications. People want to do like more consumer stuff. And without that, we're going to be kind of stuck, in my opinion. So I think it should be, it should remain and grow and maybe, be a bit better than what it is today. Yeah. Thank you.